Hey, John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So I get quite a few questions about specializing. I'm always talking about how important it is to specialize, to have a niche that you're fulfilling, whether you're creating a blog and when you're marketing yourself as a software developer. But I usually don't answer very specific questions about it. I've talked about this a lot, but I figured I'd answer a specific question this time to kind of get an idea, or give more of an idea, more of a concrete example of what I'm talking about here. So this email I got says, "Hi John, I just recently graduated and currently I'm just browsing different languages for fun. After seeing your video on how important specialization is, I've decided to start specializing in a language. However, there's so many languages and I love all of them, so could you help me clear out my confusion, please? In college, the first language I learned and also the highest focus was C++. Thus, it becomes something very special to me. I have to say, I like it a little bit more than everything else. The problem is that I don't see me using C++ a lot if I start to specialize in it. The only two areas I can think of is game development and Windows applications. For games, I prefer doing iOS and Android on my free time. For Windows, I don't even know what to do there, as everything seems to move toward mobile or web now. My next choices are Java, C#, and Ruby. I'm thinking of going with C# as my choice, as it can be used for almost everything, including game, web, app, and I like it a bit more than Java due to it being like Java with C++ features. Do you think C# is a good choice? Is there anything that you know that rookies like me don't know that can convince them or someone else to go with C++? I'm mainly asking this due to some answers on Quora.com saying they regret wasting too much time mastering C++ or C#, either due to language design or slowness. Thanks, Ken. So Ken, I'll give you a specific answer here. First to address your question specifically on C#, I think that's a great language to specialize in today. It's one of my favorite languages, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but it's very easy to learn. At least I think so, and it's widely used. Like you said, I mean, you already hit on this point, but you can use C# to develop Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, and web. And then Microsoft, just a little while ago announced that in fact, the .NET framework is now running on Linux and Mac. So you can actually use C# to write native applications on all platforms. It's pretty much everywhere. So you really can't go wrong with C#. So I think that's a pretty good area of specialization, a good language to use. It's the ease of use plus you can develop for, I don't know any other language that you can develop on every single platform for, but you can with C#. And then, to go a little bit more into, this idea of specialization, you're going to have to specialize more than just the language. I mean, you got to pick a language, obviously, but if you really want to be able to market yourself and build kind of a unique value proposition that you're going to provide, it's important to go a little bit further down in the niche. You need to go further down and specialize further. So it's not just C#, but either some aspect of C# or some framework within C# or something around that you actually specialize in, because there's a lot of C# developers out there. You don't want to compete with all of them. You want to be specialized in a much narrower piece there. So again, you could be C# game development. You mentioned game development. That would be that might even still be a little bit broad, but you could narrow that down further. But that would be a lot better than just saying C#. But I think also you could even have done a different language like C++ or like even though C# is pretty universal, it's a good skill to have. Like for specialization, the nice thing about specialization is it doesn't have to be widely applicable. Sometimes it's better if you specialize in a language that's less used, because then you can be one of those experts in that language. It's that small pond and you can be the big fish in it. So yeah, so I wouldn't worry too much like about the specific language. I would just worry about making sure that you pick a deep enough specialization where you're not going to have as much competition. And like I said, C# is actually going to be more applicable. It's a good language to know, but it's going to be harder to specialize in because you're going to have to pick some narrow slice of that someone else, or that there's less people in. So I wouldn't let that be my primary factor in how versatile the language is. Instead, I would look more at your interests and see where you can find like a narrow slice, something that you can do better than anyone else, and that you can really bill yourself as the expert in. And that's going to be the best way to pick your specialization. So I've talked about this a lot, about specialization, and it's a difficult topic. I understand that a lot of people have questions about this because it is so difficult, but it's critical that you get this right. It's not critical that you get it right the first time. You can always change your specialization, but you want to be narrowly focused rather than broad, and that's going to be the most important thing. That's going to get you the most value in your career. All right, so I think that should answer your question, Ken. If you've got a question for me, just email me at john@simpleprogrammer.com, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care.